Hi, we've got new updated instructions for 2022 that will allow anyone to install this dock at Crystal Lake. Okay, here we go. 2022. Like all good instruction kits, we're going to need the hose. We're going to need to hook the hose up, and we need my sprayer tube that gets the poles out. These are dock sliders, and the wheels are going to try this year. Don't know if that will work. Need a bucket to put the stuff in, and then we need a screwdriver and the wrench, or maybe the cordless screwdriver. And before we start to take the dock apart, we need to take the screws and hinge bolts out and that kind of stuff. Amen. Okay, under the dock, where the dock's hitched together above the sawhorse, is going to be pins. They're going to look like this. You got to pull the little cotter pin out and stick it back in the bolt or screw and throw it in the bucket. You got to pull those out at about 8 different spots. Okay, pulled the pins. You can see pinholes pulled, and then we got the hinge under there. You got to take the 3 screws out on the left hand side or the south side, and we use those hinges to hold the dock pieces together. All right, when you take those screws out from underneath there, try to get them in the basket. If you're dropping in the lake, either use a magnet or try not to drop them in the lake. Better idea. Next thing we got to do on the list is loosen these bolts so we can pull these pins, or poles. And all right, we got the screws out. Try to drop the screws in the bucket. Try not to drop them in the lake, otherwise you need to use a magnet. Next thing is loosening these Tommy docks that hold the poles. You're gonna have to loosen that bolt with a wrench and then loosen them up, but don't take the screw all the way out, and then we'll be able to move pull the poles out. All right, boys and girls, we've pulled the hardware off. Those things are loose. I pulled the one post out, and I have the other post resting there. The next thing I'm going to do is yank this dock out, and it may fall in the water, and then we're going to try and put it up there on the slide so we don't have to carry it, and slide it across the dock and go store it. Okay, we pulled the first piece, and there is another hinge that we got to do. If that hinge is in place, you got to pull that one dock out first. Also, I forgot to do my little straps on the poles up front. So we just got to unscrew those straps, and that will be the rest of the... Okay, next we are jetting, power jetting. Well, not very power jetting. We must have a kink in the hose. Watch for kinks in the hose. But anyway, we'll jet out the sand around the pole and loosen it up. And there's a shut-off valve if you need to shut it off. Watch this. How is that for strength? Alright, we stick a couple boards like this underneath the dock to get it off the ground a little. Alright, our routine has been to do the parallel south 2 docks. We put them over here, and then the other 5 straight line ones to go here, with the exception that the second board, because of the kayak mounts, number 2 board or dock has to go on the top, and the very first board, which has the flat end, that has to go underneath in the stacking. Okay, this has this stop board for the waves and stuff. So we got them stacked up, and Cheryl's cleaning the barnacles off, and then we'll be stacking those things. Finally, we got to stack all these sawhorses. South parallel, that's the one that's the 2 docks that are towards the south. Otherwise, they go in order. 0 is the farthest one out and the tallest. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 is the shortest. So 4 is the closest. We got our other poles for the south side, the 2 parallel south side docks, or the poles are there. And I plug up the opening with the cinder blocks so that water don't come in there. And then there's the little entry ramp leaned up against the dock. So ready for next spring.